Hello everybody, welcome back to the show, the NW Sportscast, and today we're talking Mariners, as the Seattle Mariners have made another trade. Jerry Dipoto's been cooking lately. This one is for Gregory Santos of the Chicago White Sox. So I'm going to give you guys my opinion, my take on the trade, and my initial thoughts and reactions. So first off, who is Gregory Santos? For those who don't know, Gregory Santos is a 24-year-old reliever who previously played for the San Francisco Giants and the Chicago White Sox. He is 24 years old. He has 5 years of club control, so he's young, and he has a lot of potential. With the Giants, he didn't do much. He pitched in 5 games, and then with the White Sox last year in his rookie season, as a 23-year-old, he threw 60 games, 66 innings, a 3.39 earned run average with 5 saves, struck out 66 guys, so that's about 1 per inning, only allowed 2 home runs. That's really, really good, so he limits hard contact, and his ERA plus sat at 132. And if you look at his baseball savant page, again, there's a lot to like. I'm going to pull up his savant page just to read some of these numbers off to you. His pitching run value at the 73rd percentile. Not a great fastball run value. That's only in the 18th percent, but his breaking run value is insane. 98th percentile for his breaking ball, so he's a really good breaking ball. His expected ERA is 3.16. That's 89th percentile. His fastball velocity, 98th percentile. He's throwing 99 miles an hour. Really good chase rate, really good whiff rate. Strikeout rate, a pretty average. Average exit velocity is 53, so he does get hit kind of hard. But this is what I like the most about him. His barrel percentage, 100th percentile. So nobody is able to barrel this guy up. That is huge. That's really good. That means he's not giving up extra base hits a ton because nobody's getting a great barrel on the ball. Also a really low walk rate. That's good. Hard hit rate is among the league's best, and then ground ball percentage is very high as well. So he limits hard contact. He limits barrel percentages really, really well, and he gets a lot of ground balls and a lot of soft contact, a lot of weak contact. That's what I like to see in a reliever. So yeah, there's a lot to like about Gregory Santos. I think he could be really, really good for us. Now the Mariners did have to give up a couple of pieces in this trade, and that is what I'm a little more sad about. First off, we gave up a second-round comp draft pick, the 69th overall pick in next year's draft. I don't really care about losing that. Second-round picks are pretty much irrelevant. Who knows if they're going to be good or not, especially in baseball. We also gave up Prelander Baroa, who is pretty much a reliever that profiles very similarly to Gregory Santos, except Baroa has not pitched yet in the MLB, and Gregory Santos has had 1 good season already. So we gave up 6 years of Baroa, but he's unproven, obviously, for 5 years of Santos, who is proven. So I think that in itself is pretty good. I think that's pretty fair. And let me tell you, if the trade had just been Santos for Baroa and the second-round pick, I would be happy. I'd be ecstatic, actually. Unfortunately, that's not what the trade was for. The trade also included, who, in my opinion, is the biggest piece in this trade, Zach Deloach. I think he's the biggest piece that we gave up. Zach Deloach, if you guys don't know, you probably do. He is an outfielder who was the Rainiers' best hitter last season in AAA Tacoma, 25 years old. He's one of our highest rated outfielder prospects. I believe he is our 3rd highest outfield prospect behind Johnny Farmelo and Aiden Smith, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong, but check me on that down in the comments. But he is, out of all of our outfield prospects, he is our most MLB ready because he just played the entire season last year in AAA Tacoma. And I did think he was going to contribute. Jerry Dipoto was very high on him, calling him an everyday player, calling him a guy who he expects to contribute. And now Jerry Dipoto essentially is giving up on him by trading him away to Chicago. And I do think that losing Deloach is going to hurt. I know a lot of people are really just not concerned at all about losing Zach Deloach. I think that's going to hurt us more than we realize because Mitch Haniger is bound to get hurt. Luke Raley probably also might get hurt. He's a bit injury-prone himself. And Dominic Canzone is in no ways a proven commodity either. So if there's a chance that if Mitch gets hurt, Canzone is not playing well, and Luke Raley also ends up getting hurt, all of a sudden, you're down to what? Julio and just him in the outfield. And then it would be nice to be able to call up Zach Deloach. You do have Cade Marlowe. Sam Haggerty can play outfield. Dylan Moore can play outfield. So it's not like you don't have other guys. But I think Deloach would have been a nice person to be able to call up mid-season and probably would be able to have some good success with us. I don't know. Maybe I'm totally wrong. A lot of people told me when we didn't re-sign Teoscar Hernandez that the plan was going to be Deloach in the outfield, and a lot of people told me that I should be really excited about Deloach because he's a great player, great prospect. Today, those same people are telling me that Deloach is a scrub, that he sucks, and that it's great that we traded him. It's so smart. And that kind of leads into my last thing about this trade, is that I don't think that I should be... I'm currently being burned at the stake of Mariners Twitter because I questioned whether or not this was an overpay of a trade or not because of giving up Deloach, and I questioned if we needed to make this trade because we do already have two really good relievers, right? Matt Brash, Andres Munoz, both really good, and we don't have a whole lot of major league ready outfield depth for when Mitch Haniger gets hurt, and I'm expecting him to get hurt, and I'm not sold on Canzone being an elite player. I just don't think that's probably going to happen. So I questioned the trade. I said, I'm excited about Santos. I'm really glad we have him. And also, I'm a bit worried about losing Deloach, and I'm not sure if we needed to make this trade. And I'm being burned at the stake. I mean, people are very mad that I'm saying that. People are very, very annoyed at me for even having concerns about this being a bad trade in any means. And I don't even think it's a bad trade. I'm just a little bit worried about who we gave up, particularly Zach Deloach. But apparently I'm completely wrong. I'm the biggest idiot in the world for saying that, for questioning that, because Jerry Dipoto, as we all know, he has never made a bad trade. Never. I mean, you wouldn't be able to find it. If you looked up Jerry Dipoto worst trades, you wouldn't find anything. You heard it from the Twitter guys first. Now, I'm here to tell you that Jerry Dipoto is not perfect. He has made bad trades before. You know, he gave up Pablo Lopez, who is currently one of probably the 10 best pitchers in the MLB. We could have had him. We don't. He also gave up Freddie Peralta to the Brewers for Adam Lind. People thought that was a good trade at the time. Look at it now. He also gave up on Chris Taylor. He also gave up on Tyler O'Neill. I know he got Marco for Tyler O'Neill, but still. He also traded for Jared Kelenic, and people think that was a great trade. Not really, because we traded Edwin Diaz, who is pretty much the best closer in the league, for Kelenic, who we then traded for pretty much nothing. So it's not that Jerry Dipoto is a terrible GM. I don't think he is. I think he's a good GM, but he has made bad trades in the past, and people act like every single thing he does is perfect. And I'm saying I disagree with that mentality. I disagree with that statement. And my last thing was, I still believe that the Mariners should have been able to spend money on a reliever who are just as good as Gregory Santos. Wandy Peralta was available. Wandy Peralta, for reference, if you've never heard of Wandy Peralta, before you yell at me in the comments that I don't know what I'm talking about, 3 years in a row, Wandy Peralta has had an ERA under 3.3. You know who's never done that? Gregory Santos. Wandy Peralta is older. He's 34, but if you sign him for what the Padres do, that's not much of a risk. They signed him for 4 years, $4 million a year. The fact that the Mariners couldn't up a 4-year, $4 million a year, that's $16 million total. We couldn't offer more than that for Wandy Peralta, who I think would have been a better person to have on the bullpen anyways than Gregory Santos. There's also guys like Robert Stevenson, really good pitcher from the Rays and signed with the Angels, $11 million a year. I think he would have been better than Gregory Santos. Maybe I'm an idiot, but Stevenson has better stats and a better baseball savant page. That's just facts. Just because a player's older doesn't mean he's worse. I think a lot of people don't understand that either. So there were pitchers in free agency who I think would have been better than Gregory Santos, but the Mariners weren't willing to pay for a better player because they just are that cheap. And so because of that, they had to give up Zach Deloach to bring in Santos to replace Justin Topa. Again, I'm not saying Gregory Santos is a bad player. I'm happy we have him. I'm going to root for him. And I really hope that Zach Deloach just ends up being terrible for the White Sox and that this looks like a great trade for us. But it would be nice to have a team that didn't always have to trade away future assets to get good new players. But unfortunately, that's not the life of a Mariners fan because John Stanton's the owner. And so my final message in this video is, John Stanton, please sell the team. Please. please sell the team. And Jerry Dipoto, kudos to you for at least trying to get better, even when the ownership tells you you can't. Even when you are chained by the ownership, even when you are padded by the ownership with nothing. You are given no resources. You are given no opportunities to spend money, and yet you still look for ways to get better. And that is why I do think that Jerry Dipoto is a good GM. Despite a few bad trades, despite a few rough patches, Jerry Dipoto is a good GM because he is trying to get better and working with extremely limited resources. And so I just hope that this trade works out as well as the people who are telling me that it will work out on Twitter believe it is. And I also would like to say that I don't think that I should be being burned at the stake for questioning it a little bit, and also for saying that we could have spent money on somebody else, but we're too cheap to do it. I'm going to criticize the Mariners for being cheap until we sell the team. And if that's 5, 10, 15 years, I'm going to keep leveling that criticism because I think it's important to do that as a fan. I still think Mariners fans deserve better than the 18th highest payroll in the league, and I still think Mariners fans deserve better than every single time we have to get a player, we have to do it by a trade. The thing about trades is it's cool that you get players, but also you lose players in trades as well, and that sucks. I don't like losing players. I do like getting players. There's this magical thing called free agency, but that requires you to actually spend money, which the Mariners are apparently incapable of doing. That'll wrap this video up. Final take, I think this is a B trade for the Mariners, B+ maybe, and depending on how good Santos is and how bad Delo ends up being for the White Sox, this trade could turn into an A. It also could turn into a B- or a C, but we'll have to see. But right now I'm saying it's a B+. I like the trade. And with that being said, go M's, and we'll see you guys in the next one.